Good evening and welcome to our Wednesday Creative Living series. This space is dedicated to deepening our awareness, elevating our consciousness, and embracing the truth of our power as creators of our lives. Each week, we explore ideas that inspire us to live fully, freely, and intentionally. So tonight our lesson is I choose. It's a powerful affirmation of personal freedom. I choose. I choose. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, it is easy to forget that we are always making choices. Every day, every minute. When life feels overwhelming, we choose whether to be consumed by fear or to ground ourselves in faith, trusting that there is a higher order beneath the surface of uncertainty. It's a choice we have to make. When people disappoint us or when our circumstances seem unfair, we choose whether to dwell in resentment or to free ourselves through forgiveness, understanding that holding on to bitterness only chains us to the past. That's a choice we have to make. When the road ahead is unclear, we choose whether to be paralyzed by doubt or take one step forward, knowing that clarity often comes in motion, not in waiting. Clarity, faith comes by that step, hearing and taking this bold step. Also, when faced with suffering, what do? We choose whether to see it as a meaningless pain, our choice, or as a teacher guiding us toward deeper wisdom, strength, and compassion. And in the stillness of our hearts, we choose whether to listen to the voice of limitation or to awaken to the infinite power within us. Again, it's our choice. And those two scenarios will always play before us. The power that reminds us that no matter what happens, we are never without a choice, never without the divine force, and never without the ability to rise. So every moment presents an opportunity to decide how we respond, how we think, and what direction we take. Again, every moment presents us with an opportunity to decide how we respond, how we think, and what direction we take. You have the power to do that. So whether we recognize it or not, our choices shape our lives. So today we reclaim our power by consciously choosing our thoughts. Consciously choosing our thoughts, emotions, and actions in alignment with our highest good. Because in all of these things, our thoughts, our actions, our emotions that are subject to us, our control. We have power over all of this. So let's look into the power of choice. Life is a continuous series of choices. Some choices seem small, like what to wear, what to eat, how to spend an afternoon. Others seem monumental, like career paths, relationships, beliefs, and personal transformations. Yet at the core of it all, the power to choose is always in our hands. One of the most liberating realizations on the spiritual path is this: we are not victims of circumstance. We are creators through our choices. So whatever you see playing out in your life is a decision. Playing out in your life now is a decision you have taken before. And you have the power to change it if you do not like what you're seeing. Reverend Greg Harte often shares the wisdom of his mother's simple yet profound words. It's entirely up to you. At first glance, this may seem like a statement of personal responsibility. But at a deeper level, it is a reminder of the extraordinary power we hold over our lives. Every moment is a choice, and those choices shape our spiritual evolution. It's entirely up to you. Life does not just happen to us. We happen to life through the choices we make daily. Those thoughts, the beliefs, the attitude, and actions, they are not random, but intentional steps to determine our growth. The choice that you make today will affect your tomorrow. When we recognize this, we shift from feeling powerless to becoming conscious creators of our reality, because we have that power and we can use it. At every moment we stand at crossroads, do we react from old patterns, or do we respond from a place of higher wisdom? Again, it's entirely up to you. Choosing awareness over automatic reactions, or like we say, ants, automatic negative thoughts, is the key to spiritual maturity. We want to make our choices from a place of knowing. So every challenge, every delay, every setback invite us to expand or contract. Again, it depends on the perspective and the choices that you're making. You're either expanding or you're contracting, to move forward or to remain stuck. When we choose love over fear, faith over doubt, and wisdom over impulse, what it does, it accelerates our growth and aligns us with the higher consciousness of good and only good. You have heard this before said here: suffering is not God ordained. It is not a test we must endure to prove ourselves worthy, nor is it a divine requirement for growth. Suffering is not God ordained. It is not a test we must endure to prove ourselves worthy, nor is it a divine requirement for growth and expansion. It's not. While suffering may be part of human experience, it's never the purpose of life. What we do with suffering, how we choose to see it, transform it, and rise beyond it, it's where our power lies. So if you see anything that looks like suffering, that's not God ordained. That's not the purpose of life. We're here to live life more abundantly. Even in pain, we are given a choice to let it define us or to use it as a fuel for our awakening. So spiritual evolution is not a sudden event, but the result of thousands of small choices we make each day. That gentle, small choice not to continue looking at that negative idea or thought and change it to something positive. That simple thought to change, to get rid of those negative thoughts. And when you say cancel, you're trying to restate yourself to positive thoughts. Those simple ideas, those thousands of ideas or change you make every day, they matter a lot. So every step forward, no matter how small, is shaping the greater unfolding of our lives. And that's what we are all about in this teaching. Whenever those thoughts come, we know how to change them, because we know it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. Just as a mighty tree begins as a tiny seed, growth is often unseen at first. Yet each choice, each act of faith, and each moment of perseverance builds upon the next. The truth echoes the wisdom found in the scripture. Despise not the day of small beginnings. Those tiny choices that are building up. What seems insignificant today is laying the foundation for something far greater. That demonstration, as you often listen to these words and you keep practicing, you're building up. And after some time, there will be a performance. A single choice to shift our mindset to respond with love, to trust instead of fear. These are the choices that create transformation over time. We are not meant to rush the process or judge the early stages of our growth. And that's why we encourage us to keep tuning in as often as you can. You might not see it, but there's a quickening going on within. And after some time, you're surprised that some situations spring up and you're very relaxed, because you know that it will end in praise. That you are connected, you are aligned with the power, greatness, all that there is. So every great journey begins with a single step. And even when the progress feels slow, the divine principle remains at work, guiding us toward our highest potential. Therefore, each moment we choose wisely, we are shaping a future far greater than we can yet see. Because when we make these right choices, when we align ourselves with the divine, what is happening, no ears have heard, no eyes have seen, no heart has conceived. What you can do when you align with the divine flow, with the process of life, it's always at the level of exceedingly, abundantly, and above. When we choose kindness over resentment, patience over frustration, gratitude over complaint, it refines and uplifts our consciousness. Instead of complaining, take pen and paper and start writing it down. And write all the things you're grateful for. How you can eat and drink water, and you take it for granted. Some people are not able to do that. You wake up and you say your gratitude treatment. That's something to be grateful for. Write your gratitude. What it does is that it changes our focus, it refines and uplifts us. And so at this moment, again, would be, what will you choose? Will you choose the path that will contract or the path of expansion? You have the power. It's entirely up to you. Sometimes it's easy to say, I have no choice when life feels overwhelming. But is that really true? There is always a choice, even if it's simply the choice of perspective. How do you see the glass? Half empty or half full? And even in moments when we refuse to choose, that too is a decision shaping our path. Again, imagine two people facing same setback, losing a job. One sees it as a personal failure, sinking into frustration and self-doubt, believing life is working against them. The other, while feeling the initial disappointment, chooses to see the limitation, the situation, as an opportunity to explore new possibilities, to develop new skills, or to pursue a long neglected passion. Perspective. The situation remains the same, yet the choices create entirely different experiences. And not just experiences, results too, the outcome definitely will be different. Even if the first person believes they are making no choice at all, by dwelling in frustration and inaction, they are still choosing. That's a choice. Because what is happening that their inaction is choosing stagnation over growth, resistance over acceptance. Every moment presents us with the opportunity. All the time. We can choose how we see life, how we respond, and whether we move forward or remain stuck. Even not choosing in itself, it's a choice, like we said earlier. It's one that determines whether we embrace possibility or stay confined by limitation. Viktor Frankl, author of Man's Search for Meaning, wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." We always have that choice to choose. Our choice. So this is our guiding principle. No matter what happens, we always retain the ability to choose how we respond. Of course, we can't control what will happen, but we can control how we respond. In this choice, we shape our experiences, direct our energy, and determine the course of our lives. Circumstances may be beyond our control, but our response is always within our power. Like we know, life is unpredictable. People may treat you unfairly, plans may fall apart, and unexpected struggles may arise. Yet, no matter what happens, we are never powerless. For within every experience, there exists a place where we decide how we would respond. That choice determines whether we remain stuck in suffering or rise above it. And from our classes here, we know that we will take the right choice to rise above. Like true practitioners, like the eagle taught us. So when we recognize this space of choice, we shift from being victims of circumstance to conscious co-creators of our lives. You have the power to do that. We no longer see life as something happening to us, but something we are actively shaping through our thoughts, our choices, and our actions. However, stepping into this truth requires us to release an identity that many unknowingly cling to. And what is that identity? The role of the victim. Victimhood can be deceptively comforting. It can bring sympathy, attention, and a sense of validation. When we tell ourselves that life is unfair, that others have held us back, or that we are powerless to change our situation, we may gain momentary comfort from external support. Momentary. But in doing so, we are unknowingly reinforcing the very patterns that kept us stuck. True spiritual growth does not come from seeking pity, but from claiming our power. We do not teach dependency on circumstances, nor do we affirm narratives of helplessness. Whatever has happened, we let it go and move forward. We teach responsibility, transformation, and the freedom that comes from conscious choice. Enjoying the attention that victimhood brings may feel like relief in the short term, but it keeps us bound to the very conditions we wish to escape. Choosing to rise, to take ownership of our thoughts and actions is not just about personal strength, it is about aligning with the divine truth. And what is that divine truth? That you are more than capable, that you can change every situation, that you have this power available to you and you can use it, that you can stand up and walk and you can make the right choices. You can change the trajectory of your life. We are not here to be trapped by our past, but to transcend it. And yes, we can. So the moment we recognize that we are always choosing, whether through action or inaction, we awaken. And we want to always awaken to the truth of our being. And in that awakening, we no longer need validation through suffering. We find fulfillment in growth, in freedom, and in limitless potential that has been ours all along. That power is there waiting for us to use it. When we do that, then adversity no longer defines us. Rather, our response to it does. We're no longer stuck. We're no longer defined by the past. We're no longer defined by the labels. We can choose to see every challenge as an opportunity for spiritual growth. Yes, we can. Every hardship as an invitation to deepen our faith, and every delay as divine direction. So we want to consider this. Between adversity and the attitude we adopt toward it, there lies a choice to see it as a setback or as a stepping stone for growth. Again, it's your decision. Between what occurs and the story we tell ourselves about it, there is a space for self-reflection. Do we frame it as a tragedy or a challenge or an opportunity? The choice we take shapes our experience. And whichever angle, direction you take, you're probably right. Between your treatment, your prayers, and your breakthroughs, the power of perspective, self-care, and perseverance can make all the difference. You've treated, what are you doing? Are you positively expecting? Or are you just fulfilling all righteousness? Between pain and healing, we choose trust. Between uncertainty and clarity, we choose faith. And between fear and love, we choose the higher path. It's your choice. This is spiritual mastery, the art of choosing with awareness, choosing with love, and choosing with faith. The more we practice this, the more we align ourselves with the divine flow of life, where peace, wisdom, and transformation become our natural state. So the question again is, what will you choose today? Do you choose to dwell in self-pity? Oh, that happened to me, and you're enjoying all the attention? Or do you want to take up, like the lame at the beautiful gate, take up your clutches and walk in? It's your decision. The demonstration will come in the action you take. Will you choose frustration or peace, doubt or certainty, struggle or surrender? Will you resist what is, Or will you embrace acceptance, trusting that even in uncertainty, there is a path forward? Acceptance, like we said earlier, is not resignation. It is the doorway to freedom. It is the choice to stop fighting what cannot be changed and instead direct our energy toward what can be transformed. When we accept where we are, we release resistance and make space for clarity, wisdom, and inspired action. Every moment, like I said earlier, presents an opportunity to choose. Will you fight against life or will you flow with it? Will you hold on to limitations or will you step into possibility? The choice is always yours. The power is yours. And within that choice, you would find your transformation. Let's learn from the story of James Stockdale, the prisoner who chose inner freedom. Admiral James Stockdale was a fighter pilot in the Vietnam War when his plane was shot down. And he was captured, and he spent over 7 years in brutal prisoner of war camp, enduring torture, isolation, and unimaginable suffering. He had no certainty of rescue, no idea if he would ever see his family again. And yet, he refused to break his choice. What makes Stockdale different from many others who lost hope? His mindset. Instead of surrendering to despair, he made a conscious choice. He took responsibility for his attitude. Though he could not control his captors, he could control his thoughts and how he faced each day. He found purpose in his suffering. He used his time to encourage fellow prisoners, secretly develop a code of communication, and uphold their morale. He combined realism with unwavering belief. He accepted the harsh reality of his situation, but never lost faith that he would one day be free. This mindset became known as the Stockdale paradox. Never lose faith that you would overcome, but stay grounded in the reality of your situation and face it with discipline. Let's look at some applications of the choices we make. When someone, for example, is rude to you, what do you do? These are just examples or scenarios. Instead of reacting with anger, you can pause and choose patience, recognizing that their behavior is a reflection of their inner world and not yours. Another one, when plans go wrong, instead of feeling frustrated, you can ask, what's the best thing I can do now? And shift your energy towards solutions. When faced with challenges, instead of seeing obstacles as unfair burdens, you can choose to see them as growth opportunities, asking, how can I learn from this? Every experience, like we say, is a teacher to us. Instead of falling into poor me thinking, self-pity, or trying to gain sympathy by dwelling on unfairness, choose to stand in your power. And what is your power? You can rise above every and all situation. Because you are connected, you're one with power itself. Challenges are not here to break you. They are here to shape you. Ask yourself, how can I rise from this? What inner strength is being called forth in me? Rather than seeking validation for how hard things are, seek the lesson, the wisdom, and the growth. It's whatever you seek, you find. Every difficulty invites one to become stronger. Every difficulty, every challenge invites you to become stronger. Not to kill you, not to destroy you. To be stronger, to be wiser, and more resilient. The question is not, why is this happening to me? But how can I use this to elevate myself? There is always a next level. And in this teaching, we want to always raise our consciousness. So every time something upsets or challenges you, take a deep breath and ask, what is the best way I can respond to this? Will this matter a year from now? Ask yourself those questions. How can I use this moment to grow? And what is the most self-loving thing I can do right now? And when we ask ourselves these questions and answer it, there would always be positives, responses, or answers that would get. The final question, which is what is the most self-loving thing I can do right now, reminds us that self-love is not selfish. It is the foundation of how we show up for ourselves and for others. It is the foundation for how we show up for ourselves and for others. Sometimes the most self-loving choice is setting boundaries, letting go of what we can't control, or simply offering ourselves kindness and grace in the moment. You can hug yourself, you can pat yourself, and tell yourself that you're doing the best that you can, that you are worthy, that you are deserving. By practicing this awareness, we strengthen our ability to respond wisely rather than react impulsively. Every moment of life is shaped by our choices. Every moment of life is shaped by our choices, whether we realize it or not. Our thoughts, emotions, actions, and identity are within our power to shape. When we become intentional about these choices, we stop being passive observers of life. We step into our role as conscious creators. And we know it all begins in the mind. Our thoughts determine our experience, influencing how we feel and how we respond to the world around us. Our emotions, too, are a matter of choice. While we cannot control every circumstance, we can control how we interpret and how we respond to them. But the choice does not stop at thoughts and emotions. Growth is a choice. Imagine a man standing at the edge of a river waiting for the water to stop flowing before he crosses. You know what? He will wait forever. Life does not pause for perfect conditions. If we want progress, we want to step forward even in uncertainty. That step, we want to take that step of faith. Even when it does not look all right, we want to take the step and trust the process of life. Action is what transforms possibility into reality. It's your action. It's possible, but we experience it when we move. Ultimately, who we become is our greatest choice. Our beliefs, attitudes, and habits shape our identity. A well-known story tells of two bricklayers working on same project. One sees himself as simply laying bricks, while the other sees himself as building a grand cathedral. The task is the same, but the chosen perspective determines the experience. One ordinary, the other deeply meaningful. The greatest truth is this: we are always choosing. Again, it's entirely up to you. Every thought we hold, every feeling we nurture, and every action we take defines the course of our lives. What decision, what choices are you making today? Challenges would come, but they do not define us. Our response does. Your experiences, the challenges, all the negative experiences, they do not define you, but how you respond will determine your tomorrow. The power is always in our hands. We have this power available and we can use it. Life is not simply happening to us. We are shaping it with every thought, every response, and every decision we make. Again, we are always choosing. Whether we realize it or not, our choices determine the direction of our lives, moment by moment. Even in the smallest instances, we hold the power to create our experience. You can decide to be happy, to be joyous, or otherwise. When we are waking to this truth, we no longer feel powerless or stuck. We always say it's only a thought and a thought can be changed. It's practice. We step into our role as conscious creators. Whatever we want, we can create. The unexpected may arise, but it does not control us. Our perspective does. Within us, there is a sacred space untouched by circumstances, a place where wisdom speaks, clarity resides, and divine truth whispers deep within. Deep within, like Louise says, there's an infinite well of love, peace. You are not bound by what happens. You are defined by how you choose to respond. In this space, we reclaim our power, not by controlling life, but by mastering our response to it. Every challenge, every delay, every obstacle, it's an invitation. Every delay, every situation, everything you're going through is an invitation for you to choose. Will you react in fear or rise in faith? Will you resist or trust? Will we remain confined by limitation, or will we step boldly into the truth of our infinite potential? The choice is always before us, not just in times of difficulty, but in the quiet, ordinary moments as well. To live as a conscious chooser is aligned with the highest truth. We are never without power, never without guidance, and never without the ability to rise. No matter what life brings, we always have a choice to react or to respond, to resist or to accept, to dwell in negativity or to seek the lesson, to blame or to take responsibility, to stay stuck or to move forward. We have the choice to do that. And when we choose consciously, we not only transform our own lives, but we also lift the world around us. So as you step forward with this, from this moment, ask yourself, what will I choose? Let your choices be wise. Let them be powerful. And above all, let them be rooted in love. And so it is.